Alright guys, welcome back to another BTNeanderthal video. Thank you all for stopping in today. Today we're going to be talking about the ladder reset, like early ladder reset. What do you want to be doing type of thing. Some things that you might want to be looking for, just basics. Today's just basics, man. You could go into more depth, but I would honestly recommend talking to me. Like personally on my streams. By the way, I stream almost every day, a lot of Diablo 2 content. So definitely go check that out. Should be in the link below. And so let's start off. So first things first, man, like let's talk about rune words. Rune words are really important. Okay, Countess drops runes, as some of you may know. If you don't know where the Countess is for some reason, Countess is in the Black Marsh, in the Forgotten Tower, which we may or may not find here in a moment, but it's in the Forgotten Tower, level 5. Probably not gonna find it. Probably should have filled out my maps prior to this, whatever. Gem Shrine, are you kidding me? Right now? Right now, dude? Okay, well I need to use that Gem Shrine later. I'm gonna be doing some crafting soon, but I had ventured out into Nothing Land. Okay, so Ancient's Pledge, very easy to come by because with this quest here, where are they? Rescue on Mount Ariat. This thing, if you rescue all 15 barbarians in the frigid highlands, you can get Ral Ortal from Qualkek. This guy shown over here. So that's pretty huge, and then you get a 3-socket armor, or a 3-socket shield rather. From, let's see, we could actually go to normal difficulty. Let's go to normal difficulty, and then I'll show you some of the cool things that like merchants can sell. So don't ever underestimate merchants, guys. Like I've made a couple videos on merchants before, but like, okay, so it didn't roll 2 sockets, but you can get 2-socket armor here. You can get 2-socket helmet, 2-socket shield, a regular belt. Sometimes it's somewhat rarer, but you can also get a large shield with 3 sockets from Charcy as well. Those are very important things because you can make rune words. That's actually probably where these were found. These rune words. Let's see. Let me find the page. I'm currently on Pluggy, by the way. Page. Okay, there we go. So Ancient's Pledge. Again, very, very useful. Super easy to come by. At level 21 required, so by the time you get to like Qualkek and all that stuff, you should be able to use Ancient Pledge, and you should be able to do that. But like I was saying earlier, like the Countess, it's in the Forgotten Tower, or she's in the Forgotten Tower. She can drop you Tal Eth, which is probably the most common, one of the most useful items in the game, are rune words. Tal Eth Stealth gives you 25 fast run walk, faster hit recovery, and faster cast rate. So it works for almost every character in the game. Pretty much every character at the start. Like, you don't have to get it on like a necromancer or something unless you're playing solo, then, you know, up to you. I'm not going to get into too much of the details. I'm just going to show you some of the rune words that are popular and possible. So you'd want to get like a 2-socket armor from Charcy here. Another one, this is like a paladin. Ancient's Pledge, kind of the same deal as the large shield, but you know, paladins have different types of shields, so you can exploit that as much as possible. Black Flail, okay, so this Io, right, Thul Io Nef. The Io rune can be found from Nightmare Countess. However, Io is a little bit hard to find from Nightmare Countess. It can drop and it can happen, but it's not super easy. But it's definitely something to keep a lookout for. It has Crushing Blow, which can be really good for Ubers or early declones that might happen, potentially. Again, 3-socket Flail. So if you want to find a 3-socket Flail, you can actually go over to Farah in Act 2. Same thing with 3-socket large shields. Farah is actually really good. And again, this is in normal difficulty. I might not actually get it first try. Okay, so there's a 3-socket large shield. Bam, Ancient Pledge. Ral Ortal. You can also get a 2-socket shield, but I recommend getting that in a bone shield, not a kite shield. Kite shield has a lot more strength. It's got 47 strength, whereas large shield has only 34 strength. Some of the other things have different requirements as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. Flails. See, there's flails here that she sells. you can get those 3 sockets, sometimes with ED, sometimes not. So that could be really good for your black flail. 2 socket bone shield can be sold by Drognin. You can just go in and out here. Let's see. So there's 1 socket. Apparently it's blue. So you gotta make sure, guys, whenever you're making a Rune Words, make sure it's not blue. If the item is blue, like magic item, then you can't make a Rune Word in it. If it's white or gray, you can. White meaning it doesn't have sockets yet, and you can like socket it or Larzik socket it and it'll work. But if it's like if it's blue, then you can't make Rune Words. So be aware of that when you're purchasing things. So there we go, black Rune Word, pretty useful. Leaf staff, if you're a fire character, for example the traps in early on, you're using like fire traps, or a druid, or you for some reason want to play a fire sorceress or something like that, leaf is very good. Okay, it gives you +3 to fire skills, even though it's mainly a sorceress item. Now if you are a sorceress, you'll get benefits from Inferno, Warmth, and Firebolt. Not the biggest of deals. The big deal is the +3 fire skills, and that's not sorceress only. So you can get a little creative with leaf, and it's only tier Ral, which can be farmed from normal Countess. She drops from L to Ral, normal Countess does. Lore, another cheap one, Ort, Sol. This one is like really good because it gives you plus to skills, +1 to skills, gives you mana after each kill. Mana after each kill is honestly, I think, like overlooked, but it actually really saves you on gold in the long run and going back from town. Mana after kill is really nice. And then the obvious one, lightning res, like 30 light res with a skill, that's really nice. Super cheap. Ort Sol. 2 socket helms, again you can get that 2 socket helm from Charcy like we were talking about earlier. That's definitely a possibility. Nadir, not so good. I just kind of made that for memes. You can make Nadir, but I don't know. This is a good one though. This is a good one. Okay, so Bone Shield. The reason why I said Bone Shield is because it has a higher chance to block already. 25 strength required, and then on top of that, as a maximum of 2 sockets as a Bone Shield. And that's just Shale Eth. Shale, it can drop from Nightmare Countess, or if you're lucky, sometimes like late normal. Some of these items, like, or some of these runes can be dropped from late normal. But again, just get your 2 socket shield from Drognin. Like 40 faster block rate, 20 increased chance of blocking, 25 roll res, MF, and cannot be frozen. Sometimes I put it on swap, so like I'll have a build or whatever, like if I don't get Melibrigas is actually really good. Melibrigas shield, the kite shield, can't remember the name of it right now, but that shield gives you 20 MF, but like if you're looking for an upgrade, Shale Eth does wonders. It's really good. It's good for swap if you're not going to straight up use it. Like if you're an IES based character, maybe if like you're a Zon or something early on, like you want to play a Zon in your group or whatever, then cannot be frozen is huge, because you're not just going to get a Ravenfrost most likely. Like you have to get super lucky to get something like that. So cannot be frozen is huge if you're based IAS, and IAS meaning increased attack speed. Nef Lum. Okay, this thing, smoke 2 socket armor. Again, you can get a 2 socket armor. Like you could just find it, or again you could go to Charcy and farm that out. Steel, super early. Okay, super early Rune Words. Say you're playing a Barb or something solo or whatever. Steel, not horrible. Okay, it gives you some open wounds, gives you some increased attack speed, and some damage. Not the biggest deal, but it's not expensive. Tier L, it's not expensive. We'll talk about CTA. Okay, I know this one isn't exactly cheap. It's definitely one of the more expensive ones and more sought after ones, early ladder especially. But the main thing I want to talk about is 5 socket bases, things like this. Now, mainly as Crystal Sword is what is sought after. Flail can be sought after as well, but you know, Axe or War Scepter works fine as well. It has to be pretty much one-handed. If it's two-handed, no go, dude. No go. You don't want to do that, because you want it to be paired with the Spirit Shield. We won't talk about that in a minute. For Like, we won't talk about that in too much depth, but we'll continue on. But just be aware of 5-socket scepters and bases. You can put call to arms in. Even if you don't find like an ohm yourself, you can still do trades. Maybe like trade it for a pull rune or whatever. Whatever might the situation might call for. So Crescent Moon, this one can be useful. Now you could use Spirit Sword as well, but you know, just showing it. It has minus enemy lightning resist. 35%, okay. So just be aware of that one. Really, really good if you're using lightning damage, like as a lightning sork early on or something like that. Then it can be decent. Duress, this one is actually insane. Duress is absolutely insane. So if you were to use like Black Flail, right? Thal Ion F, right? And then get a 3-socket armor, like in a mage plate like I have here. You can do Ubers pretty much just with these things. You get like a life tap wand and you can just Uber it up. You might have to like use a lot of rejuice and all that stuff, but you can like really early on. All you need is an rune, that's the expensive one in there, but again, it's not too bad. Like you could get lucky on your forge and make a nice duress. It has all res, man. Lots of cold res. Open wounds. Okay, so the monster can not heal when you're smiting him. It's got hit recovery and crushing blow. So very strong item right there. This one is also sometimes overlooked. Delirium, it can be annoying at times, okay? It says it can turn you into a, where is it? Delirium. Okay, it's called level 50 Delirium. Basically, it'll turn you into the Stygian dolls. And that's kind of be annoying. It can be annoying, but like, it gives you +2 skills. Lem ist Io, okay? It gives you MF, +2 skills, some gold fine, some weird stats as well. But it's like, if you find like a base, like a barb helm with 3 sockets, and it has like 3 battle orders on it or something, you can put a delirium in there, and now you have a custom-made 5 BO helm, which can greatly help your team out, or can just be sought after. You can do the same thing with like a NATO helm. Find like a 3 to tornado, white or gray base, and do the same thing. 5 NATO helm, easy GG. Kingslayer, and it exists. It's a little bit on the expensive side. Gull Foul. The Gull is a little rough, but it does give you open wounds and crushing blow. So with some IES, like, so it exists. I'll just show it there briefly, but now actually Sanctuary is pretty sick. Gives you a lot of res. I think it's 50 to 70 all res, but I'm not exactly sure about that. I don't remember what the base is on this one, but Sanctuary Coco Mal, kind of like a mid-tier expense. Definitely possible to get on the first day. It's possible. You might have to get a little lucky, but you know, you just get a 3-socket shield, put Coco Mal in it, and you got hit recovery, block chance, and a lot of res. Now, like, there are better shields out there, but I'm showing you this one. Wind, don't, just that's just the meme. Edge, okay, Edge is cool because if you decide to gamble or something like that, like early on, like if you want to do some early gambling, I wouldn't really recommend early gambling, to be totally honest. Let's be honest, dude. Early gambling's not a good idea, but you should know about Edge. Tiertal Am, it does grant 15% reduced vendor prices. So if you're into crafting or gambling, you're a high level character and you want to like min-max your gold, Edge is very solid. Tiertal Am, 3-socket bow base. So definitely be on the lookout for like a really low strength. This one's a little bit high strength. I don't recommend putting it in a gothic bow. But you know, super cheap. Grief, okay. Grief it does cost a low rune and a mal rune. But for what you get on Grief, it's insane. So be on the lookout for 5-socket phase blades and 5-socket like berserker axes. Okay, these things are best melee weapon in the game. It's absolutely insane. So just be on the lookout for the bases. Same thing with again, we're talking about fortitude. I'm not necessarily talking about the rune word itself. I'm talking about more like the basis. You might be able to get the rune word yourself, and that's cool, and that's awesome, dude. You're going to be wrecking face. It's not necessarily likely, but plan ahead. Plan ahead for these trades that are going to come. Wormhide, like, this is a fortitude. Wormhide, like, solid item. Really good for a mercenary, but again, you're going to want to look out for ethereal, non-superior, like, armor bases that are tier 3. Tier 2 can work, but like I don't recommend tier 2. Like you want tier 3. Something with like I usually like anything 600 defense is like minimum, like early ladder, then I'll e-bug it and give it again and roll my luck on that and hopefully get, you know, a nice base for fortitude later on. If you don't know what e-bug is, essentially ethereal will give it a 50% defense increase just for having it be ethereal, and then if you roll that ethereal item, if it's plain by itself in the cube with a Tal M and a perfect topaz, then you roll random sockets. However, it adds the ethereal bonus again and gives you another 50% on top of it, which gives you insane amounts of defense. Let's show you an example of that real quick here. Look at this, man. Look at these things. So, this is 1102. This is e-bugged 4-socket lacquered plate. Alright, it's 198 strength, but like, that defense is insane. I got some other ones here. 1131 bone weave, like, some sick stuff. This one's almost 1200 sacred armor. Sacred armor is like the best one. 900, like if you get the 900 ethereal defense and then roll 4 sockets with an e-bug, like best in slot fortitude base. Absolute god mode. Amazing. Crazy strength requirement, so you have to be leveled and your character has to handle it, but just showing you there. Insight. Okay, this one's pretty easy. You might know about this one already. 4 socket bases. Alright. 4 socket base. Like, meditation aura, which means your mana, like, never runs out as long as your mercenary is using it. You can also have, like, a barb player, like, early on. Doesn't have to be ethereal. Like, just best you can do. The reason why it's ethereal is because it's on the mercenary. Mercenary does not use durability. So, if it's ethereal, it would give them a little bit extra on the min-max. But don't worry about that too much. Like, that's like end game. You just want 4 sockets. Put it on a barbarian if you're running with a barb in a group on ladder reset. Raltier Tal Sol, find a 4 socket base. It could be anything. Hold on. It can't be anything. It could be specifically a pole arm. Okay, you see that under there? Pole arm. Alright, don't get confused with spear class or anything like that. Like, it has been done before. Like, don't put Raltier Tal Sol on a in a spear, okay, and get you baited. You don't want to do that. So Lawbringer also, like, it can be useful. It gives you decrep, so say you're running a wind druid or something like that. It's nice. It gives you decrep, put in like Act 5 Merc or something, let him go ham. You can also do it in like a phase blade or something. Just little ideas. Oath, for its damage, now it has a huge varying stat. I think it's like 200 to 340 enhanced damage or something. It might not be the exact numbers like that, but it's a massive variance in the enhanced damage. So, and it costs Shale, Pull, Mal, Lum, okay? But it gives you a potential massive damage increase, okay? And it's also indestructible. So if you find it, it can be really good for like a Zerker Barb or something like that early on. It's good for melee. Obedience, okay. So if Infinity didn't exist, Obedience would be the go-to. Obedience is absolutely insane. And here's why. First thing on it, Enchant, okay? And in case you don't know what Enchant does, yes, it adds damage, and it adds fire damage. But Enchant gives you a massive attack rating bonus. Like, 200%. I don't know what level 21 does, but it's probably around there. Probably around 200%. So, if your mercenary is using Obedience, and like, he gets enchanted, he's like almost never gonna miss. Almost never. Then also has 40 hit recovery, which means if your mercenary gets hit, then he has 40 hit recovery. He's going to recover that much faster. And then, dude, 370 enhanced damage. That's insane, dude. Merc doesn't need AR. It can't help, though. It can't help, especially with the stat below it called Crushing Blow. Okay, Crushing Blow, absolutely huge. Like, it's more important on like lower player counts, or if you're like, or it does more on lower player counts. But like, Crushing Blow takes percentage damage out. It's like a physical static damage. We talked about Crushing Blow a little bit earlier, but and it adds cold damage, so it'll slow the monsters down if he's hitting, and it gives all res as well. So Obedience, really, really, really good. And the most expensive rune on there are like Cone File. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So just find 5-socket base, which can be like a Thresher or something, and rock that for a long time. Now, this one you can definitely get First Day Ladder. Okay, First Day Ladder. Potentially also Spirit Shield. You can also do that. Now, as a Paladin, you're more likely to get Spirit Shield earlier because you can actually get 4-socket bases in like Act 1 if you Larzik socket some of them. Like if you find them in cows or whatever, you can 4-socket or you can Larzik socket a base from cows and make Spirit. Talthul or Am, really cheap, and Spirit Sword do the same thing. This thing gives +2 to all skills, 55 hit recovery, 25 to 35 FCR, faster cast rate, mana, life, and absorb, magic absorb. Okay, and then same thing here, vitality, hit recovery, FCR, 2 skills. This is like, in some cases, still best in slot, even in the end game. Even in end game, it's absolutely insane. So these are really what you want to go for on your first day. Like, try to get as close to as you can a spirit, and I'm talking about the shield more specifically. The weapon is for early ladder. You eventually want to upgrade to like a Hodo or something. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And there's these like class items. I kind of made these for memes. The only ones that you really want to worry about, like Peace, if you're Amazon, sometimes it can come in handy. Shellthul Am, not expensive at all. It gives you plus to skills, critical strike, hit recovery. It can be nice. It can be really nice. Myth can be used, not that big a deal though. Treachery is probably the most used. This is like your Merc armor early on, like 3-socket armor. So definitely look for your 3-socket armor, and this is like really good in some scenarios. Even Treachery is best in slot endgame, depending on your build and setup and all that. And it's not that expensive. Shellthul Lem, for how good it is, it gives you Fade, so in case you don't know what Fade does, it's 5% chance to cast level 15 Fade, okay? 15 Fade, I don't know how much res that gives you, but it gives you res. A lot of res. I would think it's 30 plus. I'm not exactly sure on that. Maybe chat can give the numbers on the level 15 Fade, but it gives you 15% damage reduction. Okay, which is also huge. 45 increased attack speed, hit recovery, and some cold res for free. So, it's a really good item. And those were memes. Let's see. We're going to talk about Hodo as well. Be on the lookout for, again, 4-socket bases, Zakram shields. Sacred Charge is like the best one for Spirit, for like a Paladin. Again, Monarchs, this is like best in slot Monarch type of thing. 15-15 would be better, but you know, stuff like this is like really, really good if you're min-maxing, but not like first ladder. Like first day ladder, don't worry about that stuff too much. I'll just show my Hodo here. So, Hodo, Kovex Pull Thol, 4-socket Flails. So be on the lookout for 4-socket Flails. Again, like I said earlier, 5-socket Flails as well. But You can get this first day. You might have to get a little bit lucky. Vex is only 2 goals in a row. Okay, so say you and your friend both get a goal rune off the Hellforge in Hell. That is possible. All you have to do is find a coal rune and a pull rune. It does take some RNG to get, but I've had it first day before. Like, I've had Vex rune drop straight up first day before. Like, Vex rune isn't the hardest to come by. You can get this. But definitely be on the lookout for the 4-socket Flails. So again, this does beat the spirit that we were talking about earlier. And here's an example of that spirit Sacred Targe. This thing's amazing. Pretty much anything that's like 30 all res plus on first day will have trade value on a paladin. If it's like 40 plus or 45, it's like, that's insane. But 30 plus on the first day definitely will have some value. If you can get the trades, of course. Again, like, everything's supply and demand. It's RNG. RNG really determines how everything's gonna go. Again, 3-socket basis, Enigma, Enigma's not early stuff, so. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that concludes the rune stuff. We could talk about, like, gold. So, like, an early game, like, really good way to, like, actually get some gold is actually pick up armors, okay? Like, you run out, you know, throwing knives and armors and things like that are really good. Or whatever, like, they're just good. Because, like, if you're playing with a group, like 8 players, it's hard to come across gold. And early ladder, like, you're gonna need gold for potions and things like that. Or whatever, just the basic needs of the game. Armors are really good. I highly recommend armors. Also, class items are very good. Sometimes, okay? Like, Pally Shields, not always. Claws, not always. But, like, you can definitely almost always be well off with armors. Like, selling armors. Rings, amulets, and things like that. Make sure they're not FC. Make sure you don't sell FCR stuff. You know, your friends might need that stuff. So, anything else? Feel extremely generous. You can donate. Thank you, Cordiple. Thank you, man. Team composition. I could talk briefly on team composition. Like, if you're running with sorceress, which you should be, if you're running with a team, there should always be at least one sorceress, if not multiple. So this thing right here, like a ring, again, we're in the cold plains. This thing's gonna be worth, like, you know, at least $1,000. Well, roughly, depending on what it rolls, you know. We have to ID it at first, of course, but let's see what it's worth, actually. But just as an example, like 1,000 gold. Early on, 1,000 gold when potions cost like 27 and 54, and stamina's, well, actually, yeah, all these cheap, like super cheap prices. I think these are reduced prices. No, I don't know. I'm crazy. And then, like tomes and stuff like that. Like, 1,000 gold will get you far. Yeah, these are reduced prices. These are reduced prices. This must be because I beat some quests. I didn't actually know that. Learn something every day. I knew that it works in Act 5, but I didn't know that it works in Act 1. So things like that, very important. Yeah, team composition was what we were going to talk about. So, like, sorceress, he's gonna be running elemental regardless, right? You're not gonna run a melee sorceress, I hope not. You probably shouldn't be playing Diablo 2 if you're running melee sorceress. So, like, Blizzard sorceress is extremely popular. You can actually go and farm, like, ancient tunnels and stuff like that, like, really early on, and that's an 85 area, which has, like, some of the like, basically anything can drop down there. Tyrell's Might, Azurath, all that good stuff can drop down there, from, like, elites and champions. When you're farming players 1, guys, if you can, specifically farm as many elites and champions as you can, okay? Elites and champions have guaranteed drops. Some people don't know this stuff, okay? They have guaranteed drops. You can read up on Ariat Summit. Super uniques like Eldritch, Pendle, Bishibosh right outside. You might not want to farm Bishibosh, but, like, things like that. Like, they have guaranteed 2 item drops. They can't drop, like, every item in the game, but they can drop 2 items. So it's really good ways to farm gold at the very least, and potentially get some GG drops. Your first MF as well. You don't want to stack crazy amounts of MF at the early ladder. Like, early ladder, you want to stack a little bit of MF. That first bit of MF is huge. 0 MF, right? It doesn't do a lot. 50 MF, huge increase. 100 MF, it is an increase. 150, like, it's less of an increase. There's diminishing returns. So, like, make sure that you guys are aware of that. So, Tal armor, Tal Ami, all that stuff. Tal's belt, big jump in MF. If you do those, the 3-piece Tals, huge. Scalders, huge, man. You can also make a 3-socket helmet, like, and then put 3 perfect topaz in there for, what is that, 72 MF or something? That gives you a massive boost. But don't sacrifice all your damage for MF, guys. Make sure you can actually kill things, and you're not just dying all day and wasting your time, because you have to actually kill things in order for MF to actually affect anything. So, if you're playing with a group, or if you're a barbarian that's like searching bodies or horking bodies, like my berserker barb, then like you can stack more MF, right? If your friends are killing them and you're just horking the bodies, then you can stack MF. See, I'm playing on players 1, guys. So, for example, what I just talked about, the players 1 thing. I'm purely just focusing on the guaranteed drops. Stiletto, unique. I do have, like, you know, 746 MF on this character. So it's a lot. It's not necessary, but these things are huge. But yeah, like, these guys are guaranteed drops, man. They will always drop some things. Always. Now, actually, let me say this too. In Diablo 2, always, or guaranteed, the word always and guaranteed are 99% of the time. There are glitches and weird things that happen in Diablo 2. And it's always is a 99% of the time. But yeah, be aware of that, guys. Elites and champions, huge kills, okay? It doesn't have to be in an 85 area. 85 areas just allow it to be, you know, anything in the game, but you don't necessarily need Tyrell's Might. Might be a cool find, but you don't need Tyrell's Might. It's really not that good for how rare it is. So, you know, just kill all elites and champions that you come across, pretty much. When you're like early on leveling, pretty much just elites. If you're playing by yourself, because champions only grant, what is it, 200% XP or something like that, and elites give you 500% XP. So those things are really cool. What else, guys? Is there anything else we should talk about? MF routes. We'll just briefly talk about some of the different benefits. Like Pit, you can run a Necromancer down there, a Lightning Sorceress down there. Again, this is in Tamo Highlands. I used the Outer Cloister to get there. Barbarian, Berserker Barb, Pit Zerker is a common build down there, like you just saw me down there. Hton can go down there, like stuff like that. Ancient Tunnels in the Lost City, like there can be it's always near one of these broken buildings. Is it around here? Okay, and it's in a trapdoor. Ancient Tunnels, 85 area down here, guys. And Cold Sorceress Haven. Okay, if you're a Cold Sorceress, there are like no cold immunes unless it's an elite that decides to be cold immune and magic resistant or something like that. But other than that, there's like, you don't want to bring a Hammered in or someone who does magic damage down here, okay? That's a bad idea, because there's a potential for magic immunes. Oh hey, what's up? Let's take a quick look at this. I didn't realize we were doing an MF game. 3 skills, 195. Really close to being super good, but just didn't happen. So, rip. Let's see, what else? We could talk about, we were gonna talk about composition, I'll get back to that, I guess. We're talking about MF routes. Arcane Sanctuary, don't underestimate Arcane Sanctuary, okay? There are guaranteed ghosts here. If you are a Lightning Sorceress, early ladder, you can farm these ghosts and get like crazy high runes. They're only allowed to drop a few items. The ghosts specifically. Don't waste your time on the other things if you're starting to be fast. But ghosts are really, really strong, man, for finding items like runes, rings, amulets, charms, things like that. They're not allowed to drop normal items. So yeah, run a Lightning Sorceress or anything that does lightning damage. There are no lightning immunes down here other than the spires and once in a while, again, magic immune or not magic immune, magic resistant and lightning enchanted mobs that will be magic immune once in a while. And then at the end of these maps, right, you have super chests, which these super chests, by the way, the ghost can drop up to a cham rune, and the super chest can drop up to low rune. So again, those things are huge. Can't drop a Zod though. Well, you could drop a Zod theoretically if it was off, I think, the summoner or like off an elite, but don't worry about that. Zod, good luck. You don't farm Zods, they farm you. Okay. You can also run tombs. There's density in there if you want to do that. You can. But I don't usually do that anymore. If you have a Javazon, go cows instead of tombs. But if you're feeling bored, that is an option. Flare Jungle has density, but it's nasty, man. Like, it's nasty. Lower Karast, though. Lower Karast has the guaranteed super chests. Okay, there's always at least 3 guaranteed super chests. Alright. These things are huge. If you're on like players 8, they'll drop more loot than they just did. Right, I'm only on players 1. But you know, you'll get crazy stuff. These chests can drop up to a Burr rune. Monsters can drop. I don't understand the luck of when I'm doing a video right now, dude. I actually don't. Lem rune. I mean, that's like not crazy good, but like, okay. Anyways. Also guys, in Lower Karast, guaranteed. Remember I was talking about super unique? Guaranteed Storm Tree. Storm Tree is always here. Storm Tree is always here. So, oh, he's wrecking me right now. But, that guy's very good to kill as well. And Travancore, guaranteed, elites again. You know, Travancore drops high runes. Like, drops a lot of good items there. I've gotten plenty of good items, lots of gold. Endurance of Hate, okay. Let me just give you a quick tip of Endurance of Hate. Okay. I might have described this before. I'm talking about a bunch of different things. Mapping, MF, all that stuff. Waypoint, okay. There's a waypoint tile, right? And whatever way you leave the waypoint tile is straight, okay? Now, if it was facing a different direction, like this way, that way's straight. But in this case, when you leave the tile, this is straight. So southwest is straight. Okay. Endurance of Hate level 3, where Mephisto is always left. Okay. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. It might be like backwards. It can be backwards. But it will always be facing left direction. So I can tell you right now that Endurance of Hate level 3 is going to have like an exit in like a, what is it? Like a rectangle shape, and the exit will be like right here. Everything. It'll look like that when we find it. It does exist. Okay, here it is. So again, that rectangle shape I was talking about, and there's that. Also, another thing that I'll talk about briefly, just because we're talking about Mephisto and some nitty-gritty details. Like, you can pull Mephisto, right? That's one option. This is not done in a barb usually, but you know, you just run over here with Blizz, or you can even do Firewall early on and kill Mephisto from back here. He won't hit you. Just be careful of mobs here and mobs down here. Pulling them, they can be super dangerous. Also, this line right here, if I draw a line, like see this here? If I draw a line here all the way across to this line, alright, if I stand above that line, which is an imaginary line that I'm writing, and I kill Mephisto up here, like say Mephisto's here and I kill him, I can telekinesis this portal. Alright, I can telekinesis this portal. And I'll show you that on a sorceress real quick. Let's see, are you set up with cold? Hopefully you're set up with cold. No boots. Do we have boots? Let me go get some boots. I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about. This is like, I don't know, I'm just talking about a lot of stuff, man. If you are getting things out of this, cool, then awesome, but like there's definitely more to talk about. Ladder reset, like there's a lot of information, there's always more. The big things though, like, you know, try to MF with like low MF but high kill speed, you know, like early on. You know, don't try to stack too much MF if it's really making you suffer. So we already filled out the maps. This is again single player. Let's not die. I'm just gonna BO real quick. But again, you just gotta go left to the waypoint. This one's a little bit funky, but it's still left. But watch this, okay? I go to that imaginary line that I was talking about, right? The imaginary line. I kill Mephisto, right? Up here on the imaginary line. Now, he didn't drop anything. I can telekinesis that portal and not have to wait for the bridge, and it saves like a few seconds. So you can go farm Pindle now, or whatever, a few seconds faster. Now, if you're farming like MF or Mephi like a lot, then that time adds up, and it's really good for you. So, that's huge. So yeah, that's Act 3. Act 4, City of the Damned is actually decent. Level 84 area, I believe. So elites and champions are decent. If you're a cold sorceress, you can go down here as long as there's no grotesques. Like dog-looking things. But there's no cold immunes down here other than those. Again, the exception being magic resistant or cold enchanted. River of Flame, also same deal. You can go down here with a cold sorceress. You can farm this as long as there's no grotesques, these guys. Chaos Sanctuary, it's dangerous with Oblivion Knights. I would highly recommend using a Paladin. Paladin shreds Chaos Sanctuary due to its hammer damage that does 150% more hammer damage to undead. Okay, which is these Stormcasters and these like Doom Knights and Oblivion Knights. And also like you can do it with a cold sorceress, like a Blizzard sorceress, but again it's super dangerous. And then Oblivion Knights are like, eh. Okay, you can't kill them with cold immune early on. You can, like, with the Blizzard build, you can actually go and run Chaos and kill everything if you want to. When you're higher level, you can actually get, like, lots of points in a Firebolt and Fireball for the synergy to use Fireball. And you can, like, kill that stuff with Infinity and stuff like that. But that's super, like, late game. Eldritch, Pindle, Shank, we'll talk about that briefly. Like, Eldritch, again, super unique. He is cold immune, so I can't actually kill him here. I could, but it would take some time. You know, I could kill him with the Fireball. But he drops 2 items. Shank, again, he's just right down here. Should drop a lot of items. Especially with the, when you kill him, he drops, like that Blizzard and whatever. Lots of meteors and crap. And then Pindle. Okay, this guy's insane. This guy's really close, he's in town. Like, all you gotta do is just, like, sometimes he's cold immune, so you can't, like, kill him super fast, or you might have to save an exit or whatever. But, like, he drops 2 items every time, dude. Every time. And like I was saying earlier, the always thing, it's like 99% of the time, so. Don't get the Halls of Pain waypoint unless you want to get rid of your portal. That has to do with it. The Neelthak quest has nothing to do with the Halls of Pain or the portal closing. Okay, it's the Halls of Pain waypoint that has the portal closed. That's why I don't have Halls of Pain, because I want to farm Pindle. Worldstone, pretty dangerous, but with a group you can actually do Worldstone. 85 area, pretty dense. Javazon fully geared is really strong down here. Sometimes there's all sorts of immunes. Like, if you run with the group, Worldstone's not a bad idea. Worldstone 2, Throne as well. All 85 areas, really solid. Bale, you know your normal Bale waves. That's good stuff. Yeah, that's like team composition. We'll talk about that briefly. Like, you can figure it out. You know, have fun. All right, first of all, have fun. Right, this is Diablo 2. It's a game. It's an old game, nostalgic game. Have fun, right? But like, Necromancer, not super sought after early game. Like, you can use Corpse Explosion, you can use Poison Nova in the pits and stuff like that. But like, Sorceress is like huge, like with teleports and things like that. Paladin's nice because it's magic damage and can clear chaos. Barbarian for support, and Druid for also support with Oak Sage and physical and cold damage. If you're using a Wind Druid, what else? Like, Assassin gives you some, like, physical and lightning, or physical fire lightning damage with its death sentry and lightning sentry if you're doing a trap sin. And it has really good crowd control with like Mind Blast and Cloak of Shadows. Same thing with Barbarian and Sleep. Don't underestimate Barbarian and its Sleep. Also other characters like, I'm forgetting some, I know I am. Paladin, Barbarian, Zon, Assassin, maybe I'm not. But yeah, there you go, man. Like, hopefully that helps some of you guys. Like, there's different map rules, but definitely come out and check the stream, guys. This is kind of just like me sharing my thoughts on early ladder, like some brief discussion about like a little bit of everything, and hopefully some of the stuff helped you, gave you a little bit more knowledge for ladder reset and a little bit more of an edge than your opponents or your friends. So thank you guys for stopping in. Thank you again for the sub, Catalyst. I appreciate that. But if you have any more questions, definitely come check out my stream, dude. Like, there's awesome people here, and would love to have you. And we're gonna be doing like magic find runs, torch runs. Gonna hope and try to get an Uber run on the first stream. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes and all that stuff. But I'll be streaming here with maybe some names you might know. Mr. Llama and Ryuke's Coddle. We'll be running together, and it'll be a lot of fun, man. So definitely be here for the ladder reset, and you know, onwards. Thank you again, and you guys are beasts. Thank you.